All right. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of Beyond Baroque Literary Arts Center, I'd like to welcome you all to the Wanda Coleman Theater and to the LA book launch of Incantation, Love Poems for Battle Sites by Xochitl-Julisa Bermejo. Let's make some noise for Xochitl. My name is Jimmy Vega. I'm the Assistant Director of Beyond Baroque. I'd like to start by acknowledging Beyond Baroque's presence on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Tonga peoples. We acknowledge the wrong done to these peoples through settler colonialism, genocidal practices, and the violent disposition of their land. As an arts organization, we are committed to uplifting Indigenous communities, their stories, and cultures. For those who don't know, Beyond Baroque is Los Angeles' oldest literary arts center, located here in Venice, California. Founded in 1968, first as an experimental literary magazine before reimagining itself and becoming the literary institution we know it as today. We are based out of the original Venice City Hall and help support writers and help cultivate new writing through our extensive program of writing workshops, readings, and performances. We are currently offering a number of workshops online via Zoom, such as our free weekly Monday night fiction workshop facilitated by Rafael Baker, and our historic Wednesday night poetry workshop currently facilitated by James Fujinami Moore. We also have a number of paid in-person workshops, and in fact, tomorrow we will be hosting Xochitl again, yes, for learning the rules, to break the rules in poetry, so please come back for that. And in 2 weeks, unfolding through signature time with Allison Adele Hedge-Koch. Aside from our workshops, we offer several readings throughout the year. Tomorrow evening, we'll host an urgent reading, Writers for Palestine, a fundraiser for the Palestinian Children's Relief Fund, featuring writers such as Theresa May Chuck, Taz Ahmed, Seba Sarwar, Arthur Kazakian, among others. And next week, we have a variety of programs such as the reading series Skulls and Stairs, a What Book Press Giant Claw reading showcase, the LA book launch for Breaking Pattern by Tisha Marie Reichley Aguilera, yes, and our final installment of our 2023 new series featuring commissioned work, brand new work from Lily Hong, Elizabeth Houston, and Douglas Manuel on the theme metadata, all commissioned by Beyond Baroque, so please do come back for that. It's going to be a very special night. And to find out more, just check out our website, check out our social media channels for more information. Apart from our programs, we do offer several memberships to Beyond Baroque. Memberships start at $60. They support all the things we do in the space. Right now, our target is $45,000 to reach our end of the year goal. So if you are interested in the LA literary scene, please do support Beyond Baroque in all of our efforts. Before we get started, I do want to give a really special thanks to all of our staff, Quentin Ring, Yvonne Salinas, Jenise Perez, Eric Alberg. Yeah, give it up for them. Without them, we wouldn't be here tonight. So thank you all. And before we get started with the readings, I do want to give a special shout out to Rafael Cardenas, whose art you see on the walls here. And we're going to see a little bit more of his poetry in a short video that we're going to present before we get into the readings. So thanks for being here, folks. We can roll that video now. Video now.
For the love of LA, I launched rockets from May to August. Ride the Alameda Comet from 1st Street to 103rd. I sit on Sunset Stoops, sip cafe from Space Juice. Remember how Tupac leaked tall white buildings and made them brown. I stand in front of Black Eye Door on Figueroa and braid the North Star in my child's hair. I plant dreams under orange trees, while the boss dogs in the front yard talk boss halls on Avalon Boulevard. I march on freeways and rap in the streets about how we want to be remembered as more than a memory. I think about moving away. Instead, I'll take a Charles Dixon spaceship from Watts Towers and cruise the infinite palm trees.
For the love of LA, black and brown children stillborn or born laughing, play in jungle gyms. Black and brown moms push carts filled with EBT snacks while talking with the girls out loud, hand gesturing, like arguing under the stretch of telephone wires holding the sky in my city. We don't fold, instead unfurl our fists from chip-toothed sidewalks, instead sing a song of justice while Hyde Park troubles with loud hip-hop or gangster shit through tinted windows, hydraulics or bikes lifted on one wheel while the beat hit good. Mariachis play the heartthrobs and wanes, even when arborvitae's neck is gripped, we smile our brave teeth and dream down Inglewood Ave and Kelso Street. We dream this city, our country. We dream the world before Inglewood was Inglewood. We dream an old community world.
For the love of LA, may this poem honor the Tonga people. And may morning steps with mom stomp oppressors' names from street signs the way bougainvillea reclaims a wall. Jacarandas clutter the walk purple, but I long for red nasturtiums sunbathing on Grandma's Fairmont front steps. Dad says mission glass near Cesar Chavez will fix a windshield for the cost of your tears, but this won't return a black man to his daughter's arms. The priest says, remember that you are dust, with a thumb pressed to forehead, but I remember we are parts of Hoya, and that flames feed new life. For the love of LA, may groves replace streets, for all mothers, fathers, daughters, and sons to gather, grow, and breathe free.
South Central LA, Manchester and Broadway, palm trees and palms out, a prayer, a communion, libations for the fallen angels who watch over from the skyline, where broken street lamps chandelier the concrete, where many roses have bloomed. The sun shines so beautifully here. On these blocks, I was still a young girl, chasing ice cream trucks off into the sunset, while the hustlers rode trees, we rode next. On 5th Avenue and 36th Street is where I learned how to rock and roll my hips, snap fingers and smack lips. On 80th Street is where I learned love lived. Love is anywhere you are watered well. For the love of LA, for the love of Florence, Lawson, Western, and Broadway, the love of Crenshaw, Gage, and Normandy, blessed be the names of the roads that have led me to the promised land.
What would I do for the love of LA? I will make God pay his debts, because our tongues can't afford the postage for thoughts and prayers anymore. Anguished bodies are stacked in layers like an Oriole graveyard. This is no place for a young princess, say her name. The tears of black bodies metastasize into shards of glass, cutting the feet of pastors who spend people for money. For the love of LA, I would lower the skyline to the porch level down on Slauson, so my 77-year-old godmother can experience cloud walking once in her life before time issues that final repo notice on the glint in her eyes. For the love of LA, I would expose white magic as witchery and black magic as resurrection, because if God will not save us, then I'll do it myself. I'll roller skate down electric lines with my little sisters on both shoulders and let LA know there's still some fight in your wings yet.
All right, y'all. So we definitely have LA in the house. I know we have the Valley, Venice, Linwood in the house. I know we have Compton in the house. I know we have Inglewood in the house, East LA in the house. So I'm excited. I'm excited to be with you all tonight. Maybe we can even talk a little bit about that video that y'all all worked on after the reading. So we're gonna get through some wonderful readings right now, and then all of the poets will have an opportunity to have a bit of a Q&A after. But without further ado, we will get into this show. First up, Josh Evans is pioneering the next wave of accessible mixed media storytelling across genres. He is a published poet, educator, writer, director, and producer based in Southern California with a passion for pushing storytelling out into the wild. He believes stories are at their best when allowed to breathe, to be honest, and to surprise you. Respect of the craft, a daring to experiment, and detailed attention to high quality can all coexist. Please make some noise for Josh Evans.
Hearing your own bio is always weird. It's the weirdest moment, especially because I wrote it, so it's just like, this guy sounds pretentious. First, thank you, Xochitl, for having me be a part of this. Congratulations, a second book. That's amazing. That's amazing. Okay, she also was very passionate about not going over 10 minutes, so we are setting the timer. So this first poem is called Late to the Party. I'm the last to know what I'm feeling, even though I'm the one feeling it. Scraped knees and scabbed elbows don't readily tell me I've fallen in love, because what's the liquor of life without a little chaser of pain? Rising enamored like Tony doesn't tell me much, because I associate rising with warfare, standing against the opposition by rising from my own damn self. Thus, I'm always late to the party. Telepathic eye contact is an asset to make use of, not an intimacy to be treasured. Being perceived beyond wings and halo, cherished for, not in spite of, my quirks having more curves and loops than a taiko track makes me fearful, not elated. I'm used to being plotted against, taken advantage of, betrayed. I don't understand how to slip into the double Dutch timing of trusting my soft feelings. I'm always late to the party. Never without food or housewarming gifts, though. When I show up, I come ready to close the place down, fully committed. But there are no love stories for people who are late to love. There are only closed doors, snowed-in hearts, a fleeing the opposite direction out of distrust. When you're late to the party, there's not even anyone to explain yourself to, because they either won't let you in or everybody's already gone home. There are no fairy tale endings for the late feelers, the cautious hearts. There is merely the long trek back home. Go. All right, this next one is called The Evolution Will Be Televised. Dear Black people, brown people, to anyone not consensually descendant from oppressors, the color vacancy of creatine, to anyone who felt a little something extra in their chest when you crossed King Chadwick's X and said Wakanda forever with all the confidence of almighty Jack Johnson, you're free. You don't have to prove anything anymore. You've done your best, given your greatest magic, sold visions to people who would rather claw their own eyes out than witness something different. You've done your duty. What if we put it in a song? What if we made it into a rap? What if we made a TV series? What if we made one of the highest rated TV series? What if we made a Broadway show? No, hold on, I've lost sight. Are we artists for soul's glory or minstrels for flesh's comfort? I got it. Let's put it in a documentary. No, wait. Let's put it in a documentary and have it narrated by a famous person. No, have it star a famous person. Someone Black, or ethnically ambiguous, like Lex Luthor from Superman's Justice League Unlimited. Nerds in the audience. What if we just stopped? What if we just started taking our magic seriously and only using it for our benefit? My friends, my melanificent compadres, you are free. All right, just a couple of more. This next one is called Whatever Else Happens. It actually is dedicated to my hometown, Pasadena. And it starts with the epigraph from 626 all day, from Octavia Butler. I have to do the thing that is important for me to do. I am basically a storyteller, and I have things that seem important to me. These are the things that reach me, and whatever else happens, happens. Faith is the novel written when lips meet melanin. A guitar riff of skin, a mouthful of sky entering a flickering world cross-faded on betrayal as devotion, disregard as tenderness, slipping into this tunnel that light has not yet discovered and declaring, I will make love. An Audacity scored by Gladys Knight and the Pips featuring Stevie Wonder. This city tastes like grandma's gumbo, the one she taught my father to make back before she knew he wouldn't be staying with the family to make it anymore. Every bite, a searing cutaway scene throwing time into a blender. Past, present, and future unite between crab legs, shrimp, and that special sausage grandma could only get from her friend Miss Florina on bingo night. I remember when this city family was not much to speak of, when it was defined by Webster's angry stepsister who threw words like bullets from Superman's hand, more intent on leaving a mark than drafting accuracy. Only those people live over there. Don't go that far down Washington. Did you hear about the drugs and prostitutes in Kings Village? Oh no, I would never live there. I stay in San Marino. Status quo is what happens when you define a people by the place and not the other way around. A stagnating impediment, a dam that tastes like unseasoned chicken and casserole with raisins in it, laid across the backs of the people because you forgot the people make the place, not the other way around. Time in a blender, past, present, future, lips meeting melanin to materialize miracles, spirit hovering over the waters decreeing, I will make love. Whatever else happens, these blocks are ours to build with. Whatever else happens, we will be for each other what those who abandoned us thought they took with them. Whatever else happens, we will remain addicted to impact. Whatever else happens, the legacy will expand even when you think the perks end. Whatever else happens, we will pull the future into the now, unlocking all of the possibilities faith set in motion. Thank you. And yes, this is the last poem. I actually did this one at my school recently. They asked me to do a poem for Dia de los Muertos, and so this is that. It's called Two Things True. What compels us to hold on to a memory? Hay mundos de amor en los ojos de los muertos, una eternidad en la dia de recuerdos todavía. ¿Por qué? Creo que it's the eyes. I look at the ofrenda and 100 histories stare back. If I could transform into some sort of melanated John Constantine, mystic detective, step into this formative world suspended and framed for a personal account, what would I witness? Probably a good dog being a bad boy, a problematic parent, a child mid-meltdown, an infuriated beloved spouse losing their cool, a treasured grandparent who might choke on their charcuterie if someone who looked like me walked in unannounced, a fiercely protective aunt or uncle who learned how to do right by you from how they did wrong by mostly everybody else, that favorite cousin shoving you to the floor and running off with your new toy, familias en fiesta mientras todos prefirieron que tú no vengas con tu pareja del mismo sexo, best friends and almost something more who you'll never be close enough with to take this photo again, so again I ask, what compels us to hold on to a memory? Bell Hooks once wrote, remembering was part of a cycle of reunion, a joining of fragments, the bits and pieces of my heart that the narrative made whole again. Two things true. The moon is dark. The moon is the candle of the night sky. To hold as sacred a memory of someone flawed is neither a betrayal of morals nor an altar of lies upon the remembered. For what sin can there be in honoring the found beauty of someone who showed up here without choice, just the same as you or I, and lived their most convenient truth out loud? For to wed the joy whilst divorcing the pain is impossible. Are we not all flowers, enduring rain for the superior blossoming of a sunlit tomorrow? So may the eyes of 100 histories, the ancestors of 1,000 legacies, grace our remembering as recollection itself shapeshifts with age. May the joy they brought us free us to live with more joy than they dared risk. For in their flawed and beautiful state beyond mortality's horizon, they have come to understand perfection is not required to be cherished in memory. Bendición.
Josh Evans, folks, give it up. Pasadena in the house. All right. Up next, Jenise Miller is an Afro-Panamanian poet, writer, and urban planner from Compton, California. She is a California Arts Council Arts Fellow, recent Pan America Emerging Voices Fellow, and Tin House and Vana Workshop alumna. She created and edits the KCET Artbound article series, Compton, Arts and Archives, and coordinates the History of Compton Arts Interview Project. A Pushcart-nominated poet, her writing is featured in her poetry chapbook, The Boulevard, the Acentos Review, Boom, Boom, California, Los Angeles Review of Books, Los Angeles Times, and the forthcoming essay anthology, Writing the Golden State, The New Literary Terrain of California. Please give it up for Jenise Miller.
I feel the same way about the bios. I think because like there's certain spaces you prepare the bios for, but like other spaces like this is like Jenise Miller is a writer and she's here today. I'd be fine with that. So let's see. So I selected just a couple of poems to read along the theme of incantation and what that means, like spells, like how we conjure worlds through words, through our bodies, through memory, through history, through ancestry. So the couple of poems I'm going to read are along those lines. This is take off the scarf. It's keeping the voice warm with the scarf over there. This first poem is called Right Isthmus. On a black machine in the exam room, I read the words Right Isthmus. I only knew isthmus as narrow body of land, water on two sides, home to my great-grandparents, their bodies, black machines that dug the canal where two oceans now meet. I carry that isthmus in my body. A fine needle pierces my neck, digs through nodules clumped like hard earth to the isthmus in my throat, bridge to the voice I have not used. Like those before me, I hope to find new life on the other side. Thank you. So this poem is about names. I've read this poem many times, and it just felt appropriate here because I feel like names are incantations that are given to us by our families, quite often our mothers. And it also has a shout out, so I had to make sure to, read this poem. And it's called Ode to the Mamas Who Make Language Beautiful. Ode to the mamas who take the bones of language, render it thick and full like hips. Make names that say, thank you, God, for this mouth and these healthy, wealthy lips. Ode to the mamas who speak life through names, like my joy or I'm unique. Mamas who echo Delisha, Amisha, Naisha, Isha, Isha. In the void of a native tongue, she remembers sound. Ode to the mamas who mean what they say with names that say what they mean. Mamas of Yalitza, Zuleika, who use Y's and Z's, because she stayed doing the most with the least. Ode to the mamas who make names glorious like the ancients, like an X with a T next to L, like Xochitl, so we can remember. This tongue is resistant, this breath is resilient. Ode to the mamas who divine names, full and fluorescent with lightning and light, like Luce Minachel, Dejeuner, Ashkashe, names that caress the crags and curves of the mouth, names that roll through the neck and come out with a shout. Ode to the mamas whose skills we doubt when folks say these names are too ethnic, too hard to pronounce. No, your name is a poem that claims you and says you belong to us. Ode to the mamas who be the first and last poets, linguists, lyricists, warriors of words. She got bars for the ages. Like Aretha said, give her her propers. Give her her propers and put some RESPECT on our mothers' names. Thank you.
One more time, folks, for Jenise Miller. All right, up next, we have Faye Hernandez, a trans Inglewood-raised, formerly undocumented immigrant. Faye is the author of the full-length poetry collection Hood Criatura. They are a 2023 Lambda Literary Fellow and 2022 Tin House Scholar. Faye has been published in Poetry Foundation, Poets.org, Autostraddle, Pank Magazine, Somewhere We Are Human, Translash Media and Narrative, and more. Faye is the founder of the House of Ethereal, and within it, Spirit School for the Divinely Gifted, a spiritual learning space for trans and queer BIPOC spiritual practitioners. It's always a pleasure. Give it up, Faye Hernandez.
Xochitl, felicidades. Oh my God, clap it up for Xochitl. It's always such a big deal, and I'm just so proud of you, and always, looking out for me and making space to help me grow and, to exist in the world as myself authentically. So thank you. I'm going to start with this piece. I got to fix my posture, because last time I was here, I was like... So, when my father thinks of me, I am a fuller man, overweight with plural everythings, my 2-roomed apartments, my belt buckles, my American dreams, my cowboy boots, my double appetite, my cowboy hats, my whips, my papeles, my horses, my credit cards, my Ford pickup trucks, my Sanchas, my children, my sillones, my maids, my jobs, my riches, my worlds, my TVs. When my father thinks of me, I am not his daughter, skilled at crafting beauty from the man's body he left me and last he saw me. Can't fathom my childbearing hips, the way they seduce hip-hop to grab them by the waistline, my thighs another man's dinner, my smile, my stank face, a woman's easiest light. When my father thinks of me, I am a better man than him in every life imaginable. He is proud, although he doesn't know me. He draws me in the air with a drunk finger. The mustache he scribbles on my face turns out to be Pancho Villa's curvy sister, though. In his lone stupor, he cracks his bottle like lightning, swatting disgust away the portrait of me as a soldadera that insisted herself in existing and reminds himself not to think of me. Origin story. I swirl around my soon-to-be Mexican parents. There is a love about them, makes me want to live. They are on a date to see Vicente Fernandez in a rodeo. Papi hands Mami both flimsy tickets while she smiles her wildest smile. Everything is hers. Points at the white horses galloping, dancing in formation while Chente belts a while. Her curls are wild with excitement, and the red of her lipstick, the purest dye of blood for the occasion of being loved as much as she was. Papi braces his love by the neck of a sweaty Corona, nervous and hungry all at once, impresses her with all he knows about stallions and lassos. Later that month, when Mami reveals that something like a pulping heart, pure mediodía, or fruit was brewing inside her, my father burped darkness, mosquitoed away a sour fog, and confessed he's a married man, cowboy hat tipped down. There is a love about them, makes me want to live, even if the threshold between Mami and I crumbles, pins me down. On the way out, I choose them and their fiery arrows. I choose their war. This is how I come to life. A love from a woman desperate for a purpose, and a norteño too love-drunk on corridos. Even before existence, I insist on resistance, and how upon living, I insist and ravenously desire what doesn't want me, as if I have a choice, do I? Thank you. So I've been mad obsessed with contrapuntals. I don't know. This one's called The Lover's Card. There is a story only Mami can tell me now. She flips a card. Because Papi has disappeared into the frontera, she stacks a card somewhere. During my first appearance on Earth, she says they were on the grassy fields by Lago El Rincon, sucked on the bones of fried fish from El Siroco while Vicente Fernandez strung the anatomy of cassettes. Chentes Sadas belting filled their desperate, emptying love together. There is no more red lipstick or wild hair. There is still a corona gripped by the neck. There is a love about them complicated and at war that keeps them tangled. Her mountain lion eyes now see through darkness. Still love him, she says. According to Mami, Naika undressed her hills and lake, revealed herself in nightfall, Mami bird calling the beginning of just us. Light is what Mami calls the first moment she felt me inside her belly. There is a love worth losing everything for, mi vida. When you find it, never let it go. And one last one. Another contrapuntal. To love you at the end of the world. Bro, the name given to a reprieve resistance to smoochin'. The bridge of tobacco leaves twisted and empire, yet doing it anyways. The rotation air pull between us, Sibylline, a va-va-va, an ofrenda or kumbaya, or afraid of curse, until it's our will to uncage our sloppy shadows emerged. The inconsolable dissension between us are after, homie. Like all the other brothers who post-date me, I'm brave to love you. My myopic magnet, my broski, my broham, my hell-bent rose, half my body below rich seaside highway on the corner of diasporic byway and wretched avenue. Excerpt, except that's not exactly how Tupac and Frank spit it. Heap, haste, harden, keep inferno in the apartment of our fingers before a doubt storm slashes what started us tonight. If I'm not the kind of girl who will rub halos on your back, I'm dumb, anxious crop circle, an indecipherable foreign language, a cumulus cloud, suffering my lips at the end of the world for a short while, till it doesn't make it back to me. Thank you.
Like always, that was fire. One more time for Hernandez. It is my pleasure to welcome this next poet. Jasmine Williams from South Central Los Angeles is the executive director, producer of the Poetry Lounge. She holds 15 years of residencies that provide equitable creative education to imprisoned and at-risk young adults with nonprofit organizations. She has created work featured on Fox, HBO, PBS, and Facebook, just to name a few. Jasmine creates to amplify the voices of those brave enough to be heard. She loves mint chocolate chip ice cream, and on her downtime, and on her time off, she is an Uno champion, a VIP member of Twilight, hashtag Team Edward, before falling asleep on episodes of Hey Arnold and or The Office. Please welcome Jasmine Williams.
No, because mint chocolate chip is like the one. Okay. Thank you so much, Xochitl. Let me hurry up and get out the way because I'm ready for the main event. I'm ready to hear you. I want to say a quote from you that everybody posted, which moved me. And I quote from Xochitl: "My hope is Incantation will give readers a little bit of comfort and maybe some courage to say the hard thing, even if they may say it wrong." And so I thank you for that, because I say a lot of things wrong all the time, or feel wrong for saying them, but I know they need to be said. I cuss a lot in my poems, y'all. That's why. That's it. So just thank you for allowing me to be myself. I don't read often anymore, and I almost forgot what the sound of my own voice was like, so thank you. This first poem is called Casting Stones. He that is without sin among you, let him cast the first stone. America is made of lovely bones. A white man snatched a black woman across a counter at a McDonald's in Florida. In the year 2019, an American man made of sticks tried to snatch a black woman made of stone across a middle passage and got those hands. Was met with rock, solid, iron, fist, then called her bitch. It's 2023 and America still slurs. still stumbles drunkenly at the bar because America doesn't know when to stop taking shots, when to shoot them and when not to. But we are not welcome or invited to the bar, nor the nightclubs, because America still shouts nigger, wetback, chink, cunt, faggot, gook, sand monkey, bastard, fat, bitch. The big black bitch are not welcome to the party, are not welcome in their own homes or in their own bodies, cannot take a walk to the park, cannot go to the store, cannot go to school, cannot go to church, cannot drown on the street, can't breathe, can't work in peace, can't work in peace, can't shit in peace, can't slay in peace, can't mind our own business, we can't do shit. We can't mind our own business. We can't play video games. We say sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. And America grins and says, but this bullet will. And a jump rope is still a noose and still ties and makes us believe in magic of how these black bodies can levitate and still fly, but what happens when the well one's dry? When I was called bastard, I still showed up to Sunday service. My head was bowed down in the pew, the sanctified stair while I worship and pray to the same God, knowing that the same one who loves them loves me too. I enjoy Sunday fun day. I get down on my knees, open my mouth up wide. I sip the free wine, commune and break bread, my happiest hour, and for a moment forget that I am a preacher's daughter, born out of wedlock and a fatherless child. When I am called the big black bitch at the bar, my neck does a twist. I too make a fist. Looked up and down at the shell of a man made in America, but before I strike, I remember the story of my great-grandmother Sedaria Williams, a woman made of stone, who left a man made of sticks. She packed up her shit in a 66 Chevy and drove across the country and gave birth to more stones. She taught my mama and them how to cook and clean chitlins over the sink, them scraps that for centuries we had to survive on. And surely, the tradition of the Stone Age cannot end with me at this karaoke bar in this old hick town. So I choose to survive because I do not want to fly. I do not want to levitate. So I unclench my fist. I do not strike. Even though the blood boils, I release the white of my knuckles and instead I breathe. I gain composure. I take a sip of my communion, the Hennessy. I look him in the eyes, pick up the last hot wing off of my dinner plate, devour the rest of its flesh, and then I toss it until the man who called me a bitch, the man made in America, to go get them. How could you not love bones? I tell him, go, leave me, fetch, go feast on their scraps. It's America's turn to eat them now. Thank you. This is finding your way back to yourself and the magic that involves. It's called groove. Have y'all seen the movie How Stella Got Her Groove Back?
Yeah.
Make some noise if you've seen it. Okay. It's an amazing film. Y'all should watch it, okay? It's a classic, okay? It's about, it's really giving, like, summertime fun and romance, okay? All right. Your friends will be like, why you haven't left yet? And by this time, they are right. No, you should have been gone, girl. Should have been off somewhere exhaling by now. So you say it's kind of like deep diving. They say, shut up, girl. You know you can't swim. But look at us, women, knee deep, always trying to save a boy from drowning. You know the part in the movie where Stella is dancing her heart out in Jamaica with a young Winston and how Stella got her groove back? Stella is rolling on the river and shaking her tail feather. So now I'm at a bar in Jamaica. It's my birthday and I'm a wallflower. The universe is trying to tell me something. Groove theory, let the groove get in, let's groove tonight. These songs play back to back. I'm like, okay, damn, I get it. I lost my groove. Shit, damn, relax. Do you remember the last place you left it? Remember the time you volunteered it as tribute to a few good men, or so they claim to be. Maybe they still have it with them. One, a high school crush back in full swing, a premature love not worthy of loyalty. He plants seed in another garden, you find out she's 6 months in full bloom. Another, a Mississippi dam, Judas kissing hands of a furnace. The next, a smooth crooner, an old jukebox singing the same old tune. These men, these empty brokes of promises, this is where you lost it. We let them all outshine you, outdance you, outgroove you. Get your groove back, girl. And why do we always say them in poems? Always he, she, they, never say their names. The same way that we belch out black bodies who have become martyrs, but never the ones who left us for dead, who hurt us, who still owe us money. Why do we cradle those who hurt us the most? The ones whose bodies fold and nestle between our thighs, whose head lay and rest upon our chest, Tom, Trey, Walter, Charles. I remember the day they tried to make a pavement out of me as if I weren't already stone, both concrete and the rose that grew from it, but I chose to love them anyway. Remember when you gave up your voice? How you had everybody thinking that you ran out of metaphor, that nah, Jazz, she don't poem no more. That she forgot how to slay dragons with a pen. Girl, how you let these men make you forget your own name, get your groove back? Like you can't mess them up with simile and imagery when I'm your holding it yo on that ass. Still waiting for my refund, 40 acres and a mule. Jasmine, wake up, get off of the wall, hear the music, pick the cotton out of your mouth and it'll feel like salvation. Check this free verse written in freedom and don't it feel good to be free? Don't it feel good to finally practice what you preach? Just to be able to dance on the weekend for one more time, for one more song. Don't it feel good to have the chance at living? To be here to tell the story. To write it, to sing it, to dance it, to groove. Bob is telling me a story on the radio. He tells me, no woman, no cry, and I'm mad at Bob Marley because I'm not a little baby that's gonna listen. Shut up, Bob Marley, I'm an independent person. Don't tell me what to do. So, a rebellion it is. I wanna tell Bob that I am all cried out, that I still have a well full of tears enough to flood this bar, so a flood it is, but see, this is the moment that I get my groove back. You see, I'm crying and I'm dancing at the same time in Jamaica at this bar looking real weird. I can hear the music and sometimes all you need is that last song, that last note to bring back the hope, to bring back the joy, to bring back your voice, to bring you back to yourself. Remember Jamaica and the luggage boy who called you a goddess said to meet him by the water and you know this is where the groove gets good. You ask yourself, WWJD, what would Jasmine do? Nothing. Because you already know of the drowning, so you do what Stella did. His skin, the color of a midnight that you will wait up for. You become paradise. He is the island who makes an ocean out of you. Remember the baptism, how good it is to give. Like how the white woman called you nigger on the bus, so you still had let her live. Do you remember how to live? Do you remember how to love, how to dance, how to groove? Can you hear the music playing? The music is inside of you. Can you feel it? Can you hear it? Can you feel it? Can you hear it? Can you feel it? Can you hear it? Now groove. Thank you.
Jasmine William in the house, give it up. All right. Xochitl-Julisa Bermejo is the daughter of Mexican immigrants and author of Posada, Offerings of Witness and Refuge, and Incantation, Love Poems for Battle Sites. A former Steinbeck Fellow and Poets and Writers California Writers Exchange winner, she's received residencies from Hedgebrook, Ragdale, Yefenof National Parks Arts Foundation in partnership with Gettysburg National Military Park and Poetry Foundation. Her poem Battlegrounds was featured at Academy of American Poets Poem a Day on Bean's Poetry Unbound and Poetry Unbound, 50 Poems to Open Your World. Bermejo teaches with Antioch University, MFA, and UCLA Extension, and is the director of Women Who Submit. She was honored with a 2023 Beyond Baroque Distinguished Service Award for her work uplifting the poetry and literary community. It's always a pleasure to host you, Xochi. Please make some noise for Xochitl-Julisa Bermejo.
Thank you, folks. Thank you, Ginny. Thank you, Quentin. Thank you, Jenise. Thank you, Ivan. Thank you, everyone who made this possible Beyond Baroque, the whole team. I really appreciate it. And thank you to Jenise and Josh and Jasmine and Faye for being here. Y'all got me nervous hearing you all. I kept like flipping through, like, I don't know, I should have picked something different. Because y'all are amazing, is what I mean to say. Y'all brought that. So thank you for that. I'm gonna begin with a poem from, Khaled Juma. This is from 2014. Oh, rascal children of Gaza. Oh, rascal children of Gaza. You who constantly disturbed me with your screams under my window, you who filled every morning with rush and chaos, you who broke my vase and stole the lonely flower on my balcony, come back and scream as you want and break all the vases, steal all the flowers. Come back, just come back. So I'm going to read some poems from my book. And again, thank you all for being here. I'm very excited to be here. The first section, so it's in 3 sections. And the first section is a lot of social justice poems and a lot of memorial poems to Black and brown men and women and children that we have lost to government-sanctioned violence. And so I'm going to read one of those. Sorry, one second. I really did start flipping through going, I don't know, I'm going to change everything. So now I'm a little lost. Okay. Page 16. And so this one is for Claudia Patricia Gomez Gonzalez, and she was killed at the border, and she was 18 years old. I also dedicate this to the children of Gaza and all the young people we've lost because of colonialism and borders and walls. Mamita, we're going on ahead. Mamita, you would have been proud to see your princesita pushing against current across the Rio Bravo. But when feet reached the shore, orders came to hide. I did my best to make my body soft as sand. It wasn't enough. Only a mile in and minutes on the land, Border Patrol shot me. Long grasses held me. I thanked Earth for its kindness. With my face half in blood, half in dirt, I heard a woman screaming. She named me Chava, Ruca, Muchacha. I wished to thank her too. But reeds wrapped around my ears sang me to sleep. Mamita, don't cry. I've gone on ahead. One day we'll be reunited, but my blood stays, soaks the soil, stains their precious border. Thanks. So one of the reasons I wanted to show the video that we did together, that the 5 of us did together in 2015 along with Rafael Cardenas, and I hope you, after the reading, you all check out his photographs because they're gorgeous, was because it was that poem, the section that I read in my section, it was a poem I'd actually been working on since 2017, and then I came back to it in 2020, and then I kept working on it. I live in San Gabriel. And in San Gabriel, there is the San Gabriel Mission, which is a colonial site, right? And it was built by, the Tongva people enslaved, and that they were enslaved and they did that work. And so like in working on this book, that was something I was kind of thinking about, and I was trying to write about it. And I was thinking about, for the video that you all saw, something I was thinking about in my little section was like imagining tearing down the bell tower of the San Gabriel Mission. This is actually the church I grew up in. It's where I was baptized, it's where I went to school, it's where I did my quinceañera, I did it all. There was a horse carriage, it was a thing. But like, that's what I was kind of grappling with. And so I wrote this piece and I talked about that, and then we created this film, we created our poetry in like the summer of 2020. And so I gave it off to Rafa. The next day or two, somebody actually lit the roof on fire to the mission. And it burned, the roof burned down. And I felt personally responsible, like, oh my God, I imagined it. And like, cause I really do think poets are magic. But, and so I was horrified, and I was like thinking about my mom, like, oh my God, like what if she heard this, how hurt she would be. So I asked Rafa to give it back to me, and I asked to rewrite it, and he did, which I was really thankful for. And I rewrote that, but then I kept rewriting it. And then it turned into like, okay, if we did tear down these sites of colonialism, what do we do with the parts? What does it mean to dismantle? And then what do we do with the parts that are left? And so that's what this poem came to be. And it's 4 sections, and the last section is actually an imagining of 10 years into the future. Like the church is now down and we've created something new out of it. So this is for the love of home. 1, may this poem honor the Tongva people. May morning steps with mom reclaim the corner of live oak and a street name for a conqueror I refuse space to, with bougainvilleas resolved to topple a wooden wall. May these lines relieve Toyperina from her post. 2, When alarms announce curfews and police attempt to stomp the people's demands, Dad advises Mission Glass at Cesar Chavez for replacing a cracked windshield. But nothing delivers a Black father safely home to his daughter. San Gabriel Mission's thatched roof catches fire at 4 a.m., testing structures. But nothing suffices. When a priest stamps ash to foreheads, he says, "Remember, you are dust." 3, fire is renewal. Land cannot forget. Land is mother. Mother's womb is structure. Ash is not nothing. Futures are sketched in ash. 4. When the bells finally came down, their tongues were fat from centuries of wagging. Being lashed to ropes and forced to cry was not the life they dreamed when first molded, but now they sing as 262 copper hearts, one for every year the mission stood. The Indigenous Women's Monument, forged by Native craftspeople, sanctified art installation, is dedicated to the year in 2033 by the people of the city of San Gabriel as a place for healing. Reads the sign in 5 languages. A concrete pedestal remains from a vote to discard the statue. Girls from the high school, volunteers baptized green skirts, hauled the bronze to South El Monte and dumped it into the river marshes. Army of engineers ordered, "Let it drown," and the blue herons keep guard. Come, sit in this circle, listen to the women, be touched by medicine. Thank you. So that was part 1, was those type of 2020 poems, social justice poems, memorial poems. And then in the section 2, I had this really unique opportunity to go out to Gettysburg National Military Park. I was awarded a residency for a month or 3 weeks, and it was called Poet in the Parks. I went because I wanted to I had a bucket list thing of I'd love to work at a national park and write in a national park. My mind was thinking Yosemite. I ended up being at Gettysburg. And it was also a very unique time to be there because I went in September 2017. And so if you remember, August 2017 was actually when the Charlottesville, the white supremacist marches were going through Charlottesville, and there were protests, and that was August. And then boom, smack, September, a month later, I'm there, little solita, in this Civil War site with over 1,100 monuments. So it was a really interesting experience. It gave me a lot of things to think about, and that's the second section. And so this is a poem. One of the things I took with me to protect me from ghosts and also white supremacists and anything else was a photo of my grandmother. She's on the cover. Actually, there's a little photo of her holding me on the cover of the book. And I took that photo with me, and I would talk to her. So this is a poem inspired by my grandmother. Locating the Dead, a protection prayer. Ubalda Duran Bermejo, guide me through this hollowed place. Help me keep judgment keen and body safe. Wrap me in an arm, and with lips puckered and eyes on face, suspend me in that space before the kiss. Grandma, this is to say thank you. For winged blessing, chirping grass, soft moss fixed to stone walls. I survey the grounds alone, with nothing but my brown skin to offer. This is how I attend to what's buried in your name. And I have some concrete poems, which means they're shapes. And so a couple of the poems, there's 4 of them. You have to flip on the side to see the shape. This one is maybe a little abstract if you haven't been to Gettysburg, but I was trying to copy what it was like to stand in one of those fields and be surrounded by monuments, and they're everywhere. You take a step and it's oh, and there's one this big, and then you step that way and you're oh, there's them that big. So that's what I was trying to emulate. And this is called Battlefield Riddle. This poem is riddled with monuments. Men on alert, men on horses, men on stomachs aiming for a shot. Ones with men holding flags and ones with no men at all. Column, obelisk, tower. Where is final breath? Mothers waiting, gravedigger's sweat. Country treated with concrete keeps out light, cannot hallow. The wind jostles yellow leaves from trees, and yet monuments are still preserved in position. Right flank sealed to border, left flank nestled in wheat. Peach trees die and are replanted again and again. When is man? Feet posed, eyes pointed, fingers poised. Forgiven weapon, welcomed earth. Thank you. And then the last section is like where the like traditional love poems live. It's where the romances and the eroticism and some sexy stuff. And so I'm gonna end with that, just because, you know, it's fun. So here is the most romantic, what I consider the most romantic poem of the, oh no, I was gonna read a different one. Okay, wait, how much time I got? I haven't read this one yet. So this is a heartbreak poem, me trying to get over a dude. Okay. On this page, I scratch fears from your pandemic beard, wipe the year from your face, thumb the white strip mourning down your chin, leave long kisses on your cheek, and when you say longer, leave another without hesitation, without wondering how much time we have till she comes, or if you'll invite me in. On the white of this page, my love has all day and many rooms to roam, comfort lounges slow and naked. I lay my body across a bed for you, down on top onto the floor, in front of a fire. I serve it on a platter and you lift the oyster to your lips, lap its pearl and luster. I grow more precious. I am a coral reef and you move careful, study tides. I'm an old house on the Pacific, and you ask to visit. I say stay, and you say yes. Outside our windows, birds sing along to a tune you pluck on a guitar as we attempt an imperfect harmony. On the confines of this space, I cast in circles, caught in my own nets, love panics. You say your scent is wood floor, and my nose burns. Let the spell be folding this paper, offering it to the waves, and asking the ocean to swallow. Let the magic be forgiveness for when the ritual repeats, and again for when it's complete. Thank you. And this is my last one. So this is I'm Not Your Torta. And if anyone is familiar with Fools Gone Wild, so Fools Gone Wild is an Instagram account. And there's always a lot of talk about tortas. And torta is a word for maybe, you know, a more voluptuous woman. And so I got a little annoyed with them. So I wrote this. I'm not your torta. I'm not your torta. These buns are not for your hands to grab. Don't ever even think about baring your mouth to this deliciousness. You don't know how to eat a torta right, meaning you don't love it, meaning you can't appreciate its rolls or how grease runs hot down your chin. Too many times you left me cold, but grandma taught me love as a bare hand flipping tortillas, fingertips burning con ganas. Thank you. Are you gonna come? Okay, you gonna come up? Okay.
One more time for Xochitl-Julisa Bermejo. I mentioned that Beyond Baroque honored Xochi with the Distinguished Service Award, and I wanted to present it to Xochi tonight. So this is for you, Xochi. Thank you, Xochi. Thank you, Jenise, Faye, Josh, Jasmine. Welcome you to the stage. We're going to have a quick 15-minute conversation. Thank you all.
Thank you all for being here. Oh, that's not. Are these on? Nobody wants to be in that light. I feel so bad. Are these? No, I do. Oh, okay. Thank you.
Two,
Okay.
two.
Hi, folks. Okay, so I've been enjoying ending some readings with a little Q&A to hear from the poets. And so I'm going to start with a question that we were kind of chatting before the event started. And I would love if anyone would want to talk about how, like, what they remember about us creating our poems for that film and, like, that experience. And would anybody like to talk about that or share that?
First of all, I want to say we did that. I was like, we did that. First of all, I could have swore we met, and when I didn't realize it was in 2020, when we obviously would not have met in person, and 2020 was a blur. I can't believe we did that. 2020, it was a lot going on. And so I know we met over Zoom, I think, a couple of times. And I think what I want to say is, well, one, I think it really speaks to your generosity, Xochitl, and like your always thinking about how can you cultivate community, because from my understanding, it was an opportunity that was presented to you or to her with the music center and with Rafa, but she decided to open it up to us. And I just, appreciate that. I think it was very instructive for me. Like, you can get these opportunities and also make them be opportunities for other people, and for other like writers and creatives, and so that it feels like we've met. And I follow you all's work, and I know 2020 was a hard time for like a lot of us, and so I was going through like some grief. So like I say, I can't believe we did that. And because there was a lot going on where I could have easily had not been so creative and so productive. And I just appreciate being able to collaborate with you all and have that space to like channel what was happening into creatively, and to know like other people are, also going through things that whether or not I knew. And again, like I said, like I think it was a testament to you, Xochitl, how you collaborate and how you move, and like this is your book launch, and like we're doing a panel at your book launch, and so just thank you for that, and thank you for how you create.
Yeah. Whoa, that is hot. All right. I'll echo that too. The generosity. I remember getting the email. I'm like, Xochitl wants me to do what now? And I have no problem saying like Xochitl's a big deal in the Los Angeles poet scene, like a huge deal. And I've done like some cool stuff since then, but at the time I was nobody in the scene. I was like, why? Again, they didn't bring this to us. They brought it to her.
Oh, and that's not why I asked.
Anyways, but as far as the collaboration itself, one of the moments that stood out to me is we did like a group session on Zoom, and so like we wrote, and then we came back and we read our pieces to each other. Okay, what do you think? What lines stood out? And the roller skating on electric lines line stood out. I think actually Faye highlighted that. It was like, I really like that. So okay, like keep that one, work some stuff around it, work it out. But during 2020, and it's all like crazy, and we're on Zoom trying to make this thing, and as dope as it like came out, even I had the same reaction. I was like, oh, this was kind of fire. It wasn't like we wrote in a vacuum. Like it was definitely fully collaborative, and we shared, and I didn't know any of these people. I knew Xochitl, but that was it. So, we're meeting each other, we're mixing like the energies via Zoom, and just like that was significant to me. Like that, I've never forgotten that aspect of collaboration, and that kind of taught me that when the energy is genuine, there's no rules to intimacy.
Are you a poet? Okay. Thank you for that, Josh. And like building on that, maybe Jasmine or Faye can talk about like how do you know, what is collaboration to you and how does it affect your work?
Yes. Y'all got me the light. I ain't got no face on. That's all I was trying to sit. I was trying to sit right there. Yeah. For me, in collaboration, it just felt very familiar. Like again, I hugged Jenise for the first time today, not realizing that we had never met since 2020. And for me, the collaboration was listening and receiving. And there was a moment where I remember for my part, I went back on tone after listening. So trying to adjust the level and just listening to us vibe. So that was so collaborative where it made me pull in, pull forward. I was inspired by so many people's story and the different representations of LA. And I had never been invited to write about my city like that, to call out the streets like that. And it felt good just to hear everything. When I got excited when Faye was talking about Inglewood, and I was like, I'm like, we're going to keep it going. We're going to keep it going, you know? So I think for me, it was, I really enjoyed us listening, the feedback, and also like just adjusting to each other so it could be one.
Yeah, I just want to echo that too, because it just felt like we were literally mapping the city together via our own individual experiences, and it was just really, really amazing. And I think it speaks to all of our work, like how we move right with our cities. I think everything in the way that I move, even when I'm enchanting my peoples and Chihuahua and, really deconstructing coloniality and what that means and bodies, etc. I think I'm always in community with the people I'm writing about. It's an archival process. And to be able to share that intimacy in this context of like the film and gorgeous imagery, right? And then like it's super dope how like the images match everything that was being said. Like there's I forget whose poem it was, but there's this line about dust, and then like the image is like under the bridge, and there's like a bunch of dirt and a fellow walking in a out of this like bridge cave or whatever. And it's just like super impactful to think about the ways in which like even visual art also plays a huge role in how we understand ourselves, how we understand writing, how we bring it to life. And so I don't know, it was a really magical experience.
Thank you for sharing. And then my last question, because this is just a quick Q&A, folks. My last question is, we did, as Jenise mentioned, this was, 2020 chaos, and we came together in like 2 Zoom sessions, I think, and pulled this out. And then Cardenas was the one those are all his photographs, and then he listened to our poetry and matched things, and that's how that happened. But we continue to be in times of chaos. We continue to be experiencing trauma, and so my question for y'all is like, how do you keep writing? And like, is it important, or like, when do you take breaks, and like, what keeps you going and in these times?
Nobody volunteered. For me, I think I've arrived at the point where I realize I have to write. And I just have to be tuned in to what needs to be writing. Because before, there was a lot of times where I would beat myself, like, I have to write the next great poetry epic about this thing and capture all of it. And like, that's too much pressure. And sometimes the thing that needs to be written is just like a personal journal entry. And maybe it comes out poetic, maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's too much for poetry. Like in my bio, I was talking about like producer and stuff. I do audio theater, so it's like basically like radio dramas, but podcasts. And so sometimes it's like, okay, I can't get this in poetry form, but like all the energy from the angst can go into writing a script. And then I can be in this whole other world, and then I can come back into poetry. And so for me, it's really just being like, okay, what is this? What words need to form it? And sometimes it's an Instagram post. Sometimes it's in the stories or whatever. It's like, this is just what it is, and I don't care. Sometimes it's a piece that you don't edit just because, like, that's not where I'm at right now. This is not about performance. This is just the words have to get out. And then I think on the other side, as far as like the drive, I do feel a sense of responsibility. I don't know. I'm the oldest in my family, oldest of 4, so we come with more responsibility than most. But I do feel a sense of responsibility. Also, I'm a second grade teacher, and so there's always that piece of me that's like, no matter how bad the day is, no matter how chaotic the times are, if someone comes up to me feeling how I feel right now and they need something from me, what am I going to give them? What am I going to say? And so even if I can't give that to myself, or I would like someone to give that to me, I try to stay in the space of like, okay, well, where are the words? How can I tune in to let the words that need to come through me to them? And so also I was talking to someone, it's like my phone has so many just like, oh, that's a good line. Don't know what I'm going to do with that. Don't know, blah, blah, blah. And my phone is filled with that. But there's also that piece that kind of like drives me like, no, you never know. You never know. You never know. So yeah.
Thank you.
I'll say something. I think that creativity and creating is a part of how we survive. And especially if you're talking about chaos, or I don't feel like chaos is necessarily random. It's usually caused by something else, someone else. I don't think it's like for me, it's like a strategy. Like, it's not like a strategy, like, oh, things are hard, so I'm going to create. I think I create. I'm able to create when things are hard. I mean, what else am I gonna do? It's difficult. It's hard. Like, and I think about like, we don't have money, we don't have food, like, but we have flour, we have water, we have a source of heat. We about to eat, So I think creativity is connected to our survival in that way, and that's why I was kind of like, I'm still amazed like that we were able to do this in 2020. Between 2020 and 2021, for me, like, both my parents passed away, and so we would have done this like months after my mother passed away. And so when I look back at that time, like, it is kind of a blur. There was a lot of grief, but I was creating, and it wasn't like, oh, I have to write because I'm grieving. It was just like the thing that was really helping me. And I found myself really productive. And like, of course, if I had to choose being in the situation to produce what I produce, I don't necessarily think I would have chosen that. But it was just, I felt like all I could do that really was like helping me. And in a way it was helping me, and it was actually like helping other people, and like allowing people to also help me. There's like Amy's in the audience. We connected during that time because she was doing a workshop, a writing workshop, and I just found myself like, I that was the kind of nourishment that I was looking for, because I had to make sense of this grief that I was experiencing, which felt really intense. And so creating and writing was a way for me to do that, and to, I guess, get through that time. I'm still not over it. We're still not over, that time either, but like, it was a way to kind of get through it.
For me, I had to live in order to write. I went 4 years without writing a poem, and much like Josh, my work shifts between scripts and television and producing, and I felt guilty for a while for not writing a poem. I grew up in the slam world, so I was a youth slammer, and I kept competing, and I did not compete in nationals as an adult slammer because I didn't like writing for just to slam and perform. I didn't like what it was doing to me, so I chose not to. And that kind of made me stop performing for a little bit. So I took a little break, and then I came back to LA and started hosting a poetry lounge out here. And as a host, I'm now being called out for not performing. So now I'm finding myself rediscovering my voice again. I write mostly when I'm fasting because I think I have to sit in silence for a little bit. So what brought me out of my writer's block was my 2018 trip to Jamaica. So that poem that I wrote was me. I wrote that on the plane because it just came to me because I was super sad for my birthday there. And that really did happen to me. I was at a bar crying and all that stuff. But I was on a plane. I just grabbed something and I remember just grabbing this bag and I just started writing that poem on the bag because it just needed to get out. And I just rediscovered my love for writing again because I was no longer constantly in training and competition for it in our field. And now I'm loving where I am now and rediscovering my love for poetry again because an open mic is such a beautiful place. And I'm feeling home again in that. So I think I had to live a little bit and grow up a little bit in order for me to come back to it.
Yeah, I'm gonna echo that. I'm just echoing everything you say today, because I feel like I went into writing as a means of yelling and protesting and blocking freeways, and yeah, I came out as queer and I came out as undocumented. What the fuck else was I gonna do but fucking write and yell and scream and captivate our audience, right? It was what I felt needed to happen. I went to the poetry lounge young as shit and I looked at all these folks of color being like, what the fuck? Like, this is what I need to do too. Like, no one is writing about the shit that I need to write about. So that's where my writing career began, right? And I wasn't ever a slam poet or anything like that, but I think I've always been on this journey of trying to figure out what like my voice is. Who am I without trying to be smart? Because my first collection, Hood Criatura, was literally, I had a white man sitting in the corner of my fucking room watching what the fuck I was writing. For what? For who? Right? Like, I was really stuck in this place of like feeling less than. Obviously, I had a college professor be like, this is an example of what writing is not, and literally use me as an example in front. So I didn't pursue writing in a professional setting ever. I don't have an MFA. I don't give a fuck, right? I've always just tried to find my purpose, and I feel like my desire to keep writing is to continue like clawing at myself and like trying to figure out like who I am and what I can offer the world. That's it. Like, this is all I can offer. It's myself. It's a truth. It's letting you see my process, because what else could we do? I'm not here for the awards, but I mean, if I get it, like, like, don't, like, thank you. But I think a lot of this, genius, autistic genius of mine has to do with all the people who are in my life who are mostly literally all fucking people of color that are trans and queer and non-binary to some degree. Those are the people that have made me who I am, who have given me the space to be able to like continue during grief and during whatever space that I'm in to like continue putting something out. It doesn't have to be the best thing ever. I don't care to be the best writer. I care to just like give someone something when there's nothing left, because that's all I've ever needed. And, folks did that for me, right? So I got all mad.
Thank you, all of you, for being here, sharing your poetry, sharing your words and your heart with me and all of us. I loved hearing you all. Like, one of the things in my book that I came to, like a couple of people said tonight, was that I kept trying to be big or famous or important or smart, and it was soul crushing. Like, literally, I was sick. It made me sick. And then with this book, I kind of came to like, hey, you know what? It's okay to just have a moment and be a poem, just be a moment. And so I loved thank you for sharing your experiences with all of us. And I hope that's inspiring to all of you, because I know you all inspire me. And I said, y'all made me nervous tonight. I was like, oh, fuck, I got to rethink everything. So just thank you. And that's our event. I'll be here. And also other people have books too. So please check their books out in the bookstore. Cardenas also has a book. of his photographs in the bookstore. Unfortunately, he's sick tonight, so he's not here to sign them, but please check out the bookstore and hang out. And thank you again, Beyond Baroque.
You need someone to take a picture?